incarceration. I'm gonna be returning to Franklin County. A little bit about myself. I came to prison when I was 19 years old. I'm 49 now. So during my incarceration, I came in and I adapted to prison culture, things going on in prison. But later in my incarceration, I started to see that I needed to change to be a better person. So I joined the Renaissance program, which is a cognitive behavioral treatment program, and that helped me on the road to changing my life around to something better, and along that path, I done took other programs where I recognized Mr. Davis from the Walking Logo program. He's a speaker at the program also. Like I said, during this time in prison, I started to utilize the programs that was available to me to change the way I once was living and the way I once was thinking during this time.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself. So what is one word that describes how you're feeling about leaving London and returning to the outside world?
Anxious. And the reason why I say anxious is because, I'm picturing things one way, but I'm really not certain that they're gonna go that way that I'm picturing them. So I choose anxious.
Great, thank you. I think right now we're all a little anxious, but it is definitely a time for that, and just to acknowledge that. So thank you for sharing. What have you been thinking about as your release date approaches?
I've been thinking about all kinds of things, like getting my driver's license, working a job, and thinking about family and how it's going to be on getting back out into society and being a productive member of society. Like I say, my thinking is already different, but going out there and actually facing the world after being incarcerated for so long, it's going to be an experience, so keeping my mind focused and just taking it one day at a time and not making things difficult, keeping it simple.
Mm-hmm.
And asking for help when I need it.
Great, thank you. So what do you think will be the hardest thing for you when you get back out?
And that question right there was hard. Because for me, I'm not looking at things as being hard. I'm looking at things as, it's gonna take time to get used to. But one thing did come up as far as transportation, like getting a car, getting my driver's license. That may be hard. Then again, like I say, it may not even be hard. And like I say, it's pretty much, I'm not considering things being hard. It's just getting back used to doing things that I haven't done before. And also as far as working a job, coming up, I never had a job because I was in the streets. So working a job is going to be different and experience. Like I said, it may be hard and it may not be hard, but what I know about life, I got to put one foot in front of the other and just do it.
That's a great attitude to have, and it's an attitude that will carry you forward. So I encourage you to keep that attitude before you as you move back into the community. So what is the most important thing for you to do to keep moving forward when you get out?
To stay on the path that I'm on. And the path that I'm on right now, I'm alcoholic. So continue to go to AA meetings, to get a sponsor. And when I'm struggling with something, to seek help, instead of feeling like I have to do things on my own. Because what I know from in the past, me living off self-will has gotten me in trouble. So I got to continue to stay connected to the process that I'm in right now.
So Speaking to your community that you're returning to, what do you need from your community when you get back home?
I need support from my community when I get back home. Um, I thought about like what kind of support, and when I'm thinking about it, it's not just me because I'm married, so it's a we thing. So I feel that me and my wife and kids as a family, things that we're going to need, the support we're going to need from the community, like as far as transportation and things like that. Um, and what I thought about was that, coming out of prison, I understand that my wife has been taking care of me for so long, so, and why I say we also is because when I get back out there, is that we're going to need help. Because like I said, I'm another body in the household, so I had thought about that as far as community goes, like as far as rent and things like that. I know that's a struggle, that she's been doing for all this time. Um, so I would like the community to help out with that. And I thought about like ways as far as like rent for 6 months and like saving that rent money could help towards other things as far as the household goes. Like I say, that's what I need from the community support more than anything. And it's more than just uh, money. It's also when I'm struggling, having them to count on if I ever have to struggle, being supportive like that also.
Right. It's not just the physical needs and the monetary needs, it's also the emotional and the relational needs.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and also for thinking about your family who's still out in the community and how we can support your family right now as they prepare for you to return. So thank you for providing that wisdom and that insight for us today. And I think, yeah, and thank you for sharing. And we welcome you back when you get out. So thank you so much, Mr. Mason.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Burton, thanks for sharing with us today. Please tell us who you are and which community you're returning to.
My name is Winston Burton. I'm returning to Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay, great. Thank you. And so what is one word that describes how you're feeling about leaving London and returning to Cincinnati?
Excited.
Excited. Okay.
I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to all of it, the challenges, the obstacles, the good times, all of it.
I can sense your excitement. So that's wonderful to hear. What have you been thinking about as your release date approaches then?
I've been thinking most about starting the next phase of my life. I want to go to school and get my degree in social work. I want to give back, and I can't wait to get started doing that.
That's awesome. That is really great. What do you think will be the hardest thing for you when you get out?
That question gave me pause. I couldn't think of anything being hard. And just now, I was listening to Mr. Mason, and the one thing that I came up with that probably will be hard is reconnecting with some of my children, with my son, and with some family members, but mostly like my son. Over the course of my incarceration, I haven't had any contact with him. My daughter has came back into my life in the past few years, and we're working on a relationship with me, her, and my grandchildren. But my son, he still doesn't want to talk to me, and that'll be the hard part. Yeah. But it's going to be what it's going to be. He's a grown man, and he's free to make his own choices. Yeah. I understand it's my choices that has caused this problem. So whatever he decides to do, I'm gonna live with it.
Well, we hope and pray that that relationship will develop and be restorative for both of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what's the most important thing for you to do to keep moving forward when you get out?
To utilize my support system. I have a lot of people that are supportive of me, and they wish for the best for me. And there are a lot of organizations that I've connected with that is going to help me get to where I want to be, and just utilize my support system to remember to stop and smell the roses. Right? I have a habit of being focused on certain things, and I'm focused on going to school and starting a career, and I'm gonna have to take the time to just relax and enjoy being free.
Yeah. And there's a lot of roses out here.
Yes.
There are. Thank you for sharing that. What do you need, speaking to your community, to the Cincinnati community, what do you need from your community when you get back?
Assistance in finding a job, housing, and transportation, and just an opportunity to show that I've changed, that I'm not the person I was 27 years ago. And those are the things I at this moment that I feel that I need.
Thank you. That's really important to honor and recognize that you've put in the hard work inside.
Yes, I have. And thanks to the Renaissance program, I think everyone should have to go through that. Before that, I was a 50-year-old man who didn't really know who I was or why I did what I did. And going through that process, I was able to figure out all the things I needed to know to be a better person, to be eligible for release, to have some insight into who I was. And better yet, I gained some hope. Those 25 years before I joined that program, I had no hope. I could not imagine being outside of prison. Now, not only can I imagine it, I'm confident I'm going to be successful.
And you're excited.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I just to take a walk through the woods, something like that. I can't wait to do that.
That's great.
To sit and have a conversation with my mother, and I don't have to look at the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I cannot wait for that. Just the simple things are the things that I'm looking forward to the most. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Well, thank you for sharing with us.
Okay.
Sorry about technology.
Yeah. That's something that I'm gonna have to get used to too.
That's right.
My nephew told me he's gonna show me how to use a smartphone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried. I'm sure I'll pick it up.
You will. Yes. Yes. We've all had to get used to it. So plenty of teachers out here with that. So yeah. So thank you so much for sharing and being a part of this experience with us. And we will carry your words forward, and we welcome you back to the Cincinnati area.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. So please, Mr. Jones, please tell us who you are and which community you're returning to.
Okay, my name is Vincent Jones. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, and in Hamilton County, so that's where I'll be going back to.
Great. So what is one word that describes how you're feeling about leaving London and returning to Cincinnati?
Anxious.
Anxious.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I need to elaborate on that?
If you please, what are you anxious about?
Wanting to, I don't want to say, I'm not fearful about returning to life, but anxious to get started
Okay.
and wanting, don't really know exactly how everything is. Like I said about this video, I'm not experienced with this because I've been down for so long and things have changed. So I'm anxious to get out there and get back into life, but it's not a fearful anxious. It's just a grateful anxious, a happy anxious.
And just not knowing what life is going to be like out there.
Right, exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing. What have you been thinking about as your release date approaches?
Opportunities in life, how much time I have here left on this planet, and how much time do I have to actually fulfill those opportunities or participate in those opportunities. And family. My children are grown now, so it's a different dynamic in which I'm going to be with them. And so it's stuff like that is what I'm thinking about. Just ready to live life and see what it brings me. So.
Wow, that's great. That's great that you're thinking about those opportunities. So what do you think is going to be the hardest thing for when you get out? Or is there a hard thing for you when you get out?
I am my hardest thing is to make sure that I'm okay before trying to help others. So that is going to be the hardest thing for me. I have to make sure that I'm stable and right, because I am a giver and I like to make sure others are all right. And it's hard for me to see people in need and not try to help. So that'd be the really hardest thing for me. As far as jobs or life, that comes easy to me. But looking at other people suffer is hard for me. So that would be the hardest thing that I have to worry about, is making sure that I'm stable before I try to help other people.
Wow, that is all a lesson that we all could learn to navigate a little bit better. But that's incredibly insightful. So thank you for sharing that with us. What's the most important thing then for you to do to keep moving forward when you get back to Cincinnati?
Again, pursue the opportunities that I do have in front of me. Make sure that I, again, stay grounded. Make sure that I realize that life is not promised. In any situation, again, this situation could happen to anybody. It's not going to happen to me again, but it can happen to anybody. And you have to make sure that you stay grounded, stay focused, and do what you need to do to stay out and live life. So I'm just looking forward to, again, working, helping others, helping the community in every way that I can. Those are the things that I'm looking forward to.
That's great. We look forward to having you help our community when you get out. That's for sure. So speaking to your community right now, what do you need from your community when you return? What do you need them to do? How do you need them to welcome you?
That's pretty much what I need, is to be welcomed. I have a work ethic that it's gonna show itself. So I don't necessarily need help, and I'm not ashamed to take any job or opportunity given to me. So I do need the doors to be open to a certain degree for me, in certain jobs. But the fact that people welcome you and receive you, even though I am a convicted felon, that would be the biggest thing that I ask. Is just to welcome me.
What, and this isn't on our sheet, what does a good welcome look like or feel like to you?
Not being looked upon as less than because of my situation. Not being looked upon as someone who can't function in society because of my situation. Given a real opportunity to show my talents and show my abilities without being judged. And I know it's changed a lot. I see it, and it's basically going to be the individual that determines his own fate, his own path. But it's still some people out there that they see felony and assume that you are a bad person, and that is not always the case. So.
Well, thank you for sharing yourself and your insights with us today. And we are going to take your words and your voice to heart in our time together. So thank you so much, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Phelps.
Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Hall, for being with us today. Please tell us who you are and which community you're returning to.
My name is Mark Hall, and I'm returning to Clark County, Springfield, Ohio.
Okay, great. So what is one word that describes how you're feeling as you think about leaving London and returning to the community?
Probably nervous.
Nervous, okay. What makes you nervous?
Just the unknown, not knowing what to look forward to or like what to expect upon returning back to my community.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. What have you been thinking about as your release date approaches?
Man, probably what everybody thinks about, just how I'm gonna find a job and, you know what I mean, everything that my community has to offer for guys like me returning back, you know what I mean, from being incarcerated, just what processes I gotta go about and try not to get overwhelmed and frustrated in the process.
It can be overwhelming, yes. Yes, it can. So I'm glad you're thinking about those things. That's part of the preparation of returning. So what do you think is going to be the hardest thing for you when you return to the Springfield area?
Probably finding a job, work. You know, a lot of guys, they come in here and they don't make some of the smartest choices, and then they got to return back to their communities, and then, you know, it's a toss-up. I mean, they get discouraged, and then that's part of the reason why they end up back in here.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. What is the most important thing for you personally to do to keep moving forward when you return to the area?
Just staying focused and open-minded, that it's not going to just fall out of the air. Like, I got to put the work in and follow the steps to, you know, stay out and do what I need to do so I can be a productive member of society.
Okay, that's great. And then the final question is, what do you need? You're speaking to your community, to the Springfield community right now. What do you need from them when you get back home?
It's patience. Just
Okay.
a little patience.
Just patience, huh?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop recording for a second now. So Mr. Hall, you're talking to your community. What do you need from your community? What do you want to tell Springfield that you need when you return home?
You know, just a little patience and a little, you know, faith that, you know what I mean, that I can actually come home and do the right things just with a little help, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We all make mistakes.
Yes, yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah.
A little forgiveness.
That's it. Just a little bit.
Okay, that's great. What does a warm welcome look like to you?
Just a few opportunities. That's all. Just a hand up, you know. That's all. Just a little bit, not much. You know, I work for it. Just a little bit.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing yourself and your insights and your perspective with us today. And
Thank you.
we are looking forward to your return.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.